So like how did you came to know about there is an exam called UCEED?
One day, one of my teachers just randomly recommended that why don't you apply abroad?
What was your overall preparation strategy you have followed for your part A?
I'll be honest, I was pretty comfortable with my part A before I started prep for UC. Maybe because I've been doing Olympiads and these IQ test puzzles since God knows when.
Do you have habit of sketching before you came to know about UCEED exam?
Actually, no. I did not sketch, I did not draw till I started my prep for UCEED.
When did you actually started practicing sketching?
I spent 4-5 hours during my preparation every day just sketching.
According to you, what are the important concepts one should have to focus in sketching?
You start with objects, animals, some organic shapes, right? Humans. So you can take one reference from Pinterest, for example. You draw the same scene and then you draw the exact same scene from another angle.
So you have given a 60 marks. So after giving your each mark, how did you analyze your mock test performance?
See, design is one thing where anyone can be a judge and it's gonna be pretty accurate because you're designing for the entire world.
Finally, the results were out and you have secured All India Rank 1. What was your reaction and your family reaction? Typical Indian students who have completed their plus 2, what they think about top IITs is, top IITs only offer engineering as well as technology courses. But many of you don't know, top IITs will also offer design courses. So if you want to get admission in Bachelor's in Design, there is an exam called UCEED. So you have to give that exam. So the guest for today's podcast, who has not secured All India Rank 100, who has not secured All India Rank 10, who secured All India Rank 1. So the guest for today's podcast is Shreyansh Agarwal, who has secured All India Rank 1 in UCEED 2025 and currently he is pursuing his Bachelor's in Design at IDC IIT Bombay. So in this podcast, we will find out his complete preparation journey. So if you are someone who are preparing for UCEED exam, this is the podcast you need to watch. So without any further ado, let's get started. So hi Shreyansh, welcome to the podcast.
Hello Joshua.
Yeah, how are you?
Pretty great.
Yeah, how is your present life going at IDC IIT Bombay?
It's pretty hectic. They keep you busy with a lot of assignments. It's fun though. It's everything I expected the course to be, if not better.
Nice. So Shreyansh, first of all, I would like to thank you so much. I know you are pretty busy in your own schedules. You have given some of your valuable time for me as well as for my audience. Thank you so much.
No problems. Anything for the people.
Yeah. So we will start this podcast with your introduction. So can you briefly introduce about yourself to our audience?
So hey guys, I am Shreyansh Agarwal. I gave UCEED in 2025 and I have secured AIR 1 this year. I am originally from Delhi and I've been living in Delhi for the past 12 years. And its design journey has been a pretty fun experience for me. I've been doing it since 9th grade. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talk more about it.
So Shreyansh, if we look into typical Indian students, not only Indian students and also if you look into Indian parents as well, many parents as well as students prefer to go in engineering side or technology side. And if we look into a PCB or BPC background, they will go to a medical side. So many students will choose engineering or tech backgrounds. So very few students know there is a career option which is called design, and very few students know there is an exam called UCEED in which you will get admission at top IITs. So how did you came to know about there is an exam called UCEED?
So it was completely by luck. So as you said, most PCM students go for engineering. I myself was an engineering student. But it was I used to do some design and art stuff in my school years, 10th, 11th. And then one day, one of my teachers just randomly recommended that why don't you apply abroad, right? That you do so much in design, then why there are some very good design courses abroad. And so I just decided to give it a look. Okay, why not? Let's give it a look. And that's how I just stumbled upon UCEED. Okay, so there are courses in India itself There's no need to go outside, and they're pretty good. And yeah, that's when I decided to switch.
Okay. So like from guidance of your teachers, like you have decided to give this UCEED exam.
Yeah.
So Shreyansh, in the previous question only, we have discussed like a very few students know about there is an exam called UCEED. So after you came to know about UCEED exam, like when did you actually started preparing seriously for the UCEED?
Okay, so I came across the exam of in 2023, which was 11th grade for me. 11th grade around the summer vacations time. That's when I found out about UCEED. And by this time, I was a proper JEE student. I was preparing for the JEE examination, right? But that's when I decided, okay, no, I don't want to give this exam. I want to give UCEED. And so that's when I also joined my design classes. That's when I started joining, basically preparing for design. And for 6-7 months, I was juggling both JEE and design studies. So I would not say that I was solely preparing for design at that point. That was my main aim, that this is what I want to do, right? But I could not focus my entire time on it. So proper preparation started in around January of 2024.
Okay, that's very cool. So now let's talk about your preparation strategies and your preparation journey for the UCEED exam. So in UCEED exam, basically there are two parts. So there is part A as well as part B. So part A is of 200 marks and part B is of 100 marks. And part A we have 57 questions, which is of completely theory, aptitude, logical reasoning and stuff. So like what was your overall preparation strategy you have followed for your part A?
Okay, so for part A, again, there are 3 sections. So NAT, MSQ and MCQ. And I think it's best if you know what you are most comfortable with. So for me, I was most comfortable with NATs, which is not true for most people. Like most people are very, very comfortable with MCQs, but NAT was my strong part. And so I always used to do NATs first. Right. And then I used to do MSQs, and the MCQs was my last because I was able to finish them very quickly. So they're generally easier. So have a strategy in mind before the exam, how you're going to attempt the questions. Second, while you're reading the questions, I'm not talking about just syllabus itself, but when you're just reading the question, you should know if you'll be able to solve that question within a minute or two. If you feel like this question will take more than a minute on reading it, then it's a good strategy to leave it and then come back to it later on in the second round, right? Time management is a key issue. Talking about just preparing, so just studying for the exam, I'll be honest, I was pretty comfortable with my part A before I started prep for UCEED. That's because maybe due to my engineering background, maybe because I've been doing Olympiads and these IQ test puzzles since God knows when. Right, I've been doing this since forever, and yeah, so my brain had been tuned to work for UCEED, so I did not struggle much. But if someone's starting from scratch, then I think the first thing would be to be sure about your fundamentals, especially your mathematics and your logical reasoning. There are no tricks to the exam. There are no formulas to remember except the most basic ones. So this year onwards, there was a lot of GK too, right? So when you attempt previous year questions, you'll see that there were not a lot of GK till 2024, but then suddenly in 2025 they gave 12-13 questions for GK, which is a huge chunk, right? I was fortunate to have had spent enough time on GK, so I did not struggle there. But it's more important that you know what you're studying for. So it's not anything, they'll ask for anything, right? What they're only going to ask you something that you should know. If you it's going to come from your surroundings. It's going to come from India. They're not going to ask some random fact about a species of animal that lives in Southern Africa, for example. Okay. So you need to be smart about what you study, especially in GK. So if I just say it on the top of my mind, if you're from India, so you should know about India's history, you should know about its culture, you should know about its geography. And you should you're studying for design, so then you should be aware of your surroundings. You should know how simple machines around you, like a nail cutter or a hand pump, for example. There was a hand pump question in 2024. How these small machines work. So all of this is a part of your general knowledge, I'd say. So there are a lot of visualization questions. So when I mean visualization questions, it's gonna be like around solid shapes. So they're gonna give a random solid and they're gonna ask, okay, what's the side view of this? Or what would happen if I pass the cylinder through this and the cross section? What would be the cross section of the resulting figure? Something like that. So how do you tackle those questions? This part of part A is, I'd say, very, very closely related to part B. So try to draw these questions or try to imagine them in your head. I had 3D knowledge, as I said, like I did a lot of 3D design. So I was doing Blender and I had a lot of experience with turning figures around. So I did not struggle there, but my classmates did struggle in these questions a lot. So the trick about it is mainly ki, it's better to go step by step. So if it's like if there are like 5 figures, and you're supposed to find the cross section of all the 5 figures. First, find the cross section of 2 figures. Then add the third one on the cross section and see what's the resulting figure, and something like that. So break down the questions in steps, and it's generally much easier to solve it that way. So then there are like some particular topics that you don't really study till 10th grade, which are also very important for UCEED, which is mainly permutation and combination and probability. Yeah. So, but the thing is, you don't really need to do the mathematical way. Most of the questions you see can be done by logic. So think of the questions, as I said, fundamentally. I used to be able, like, not to brag, but like I used to be able to do the questions without really using any of the PNC formulas. So if you had like a few examples, then I guess it would be more clear. But basically what I mean to say is, think of the questions logically rather than through a formula, and it will generally give you a much accurate answer. Then for areas and volume questions, so there are a lot of areas questions. So it's those questions, instead of just directly trying to solve them, try to play around with the figure. Sometimes you're able to move the shaded areas around so that they form an easiest shape. You say, for example, if there's a square like this, and uska like particular areas ka nikalna hai. If you move around the black areas, एक question था जिसके अंदर only 1/4 of the area is technically shaded. If when you move around the shaded portions in a particular way, so it's basically visualization again. You should be able to visualize how the figure would look if you move around the shaded parts. That also helps a lot in the area questions. Moreover, I'd say, don't limit yourself to just design studies, because this is a problem in design education before the graduation course starts. That is, it's very focused towards more popular exams like NIFT and NID. They're like relatively popular exams, and for UCEED you don't have a lot of good study material available online. At least it wasn't till last year. I am not sure if something comes up in the future years, but when I was studying for the exam, there wasn't much very good material available, and what's called design study material was not relevant. Like, it's pretty basic, or it would focus mainly just on the logical part and just not do like the advanced questions that sometimes UCEED can ask, right? So it's more about like analyzing the paper yourself and seeing where you are struggling, and then looking for questions that actually match those particular niche areas.
So, Shreyansh, so the most weightage of a UCEED exam is of Part A. So, Part A, like as you said in the previous questions, the questions can be asked from anywhere. So, we don't know like where the questions can be asked. So, we have to prepare in a broader way. So, according to you, like what are the resources you mainly used while preparing for UCEED exam?
Right. So, I think the best place to start is be sure about your basics. As I said, like till 10th grade, your math, science, SST. You should know all of it by heart. Okay. they're not going to ask direct questions from it. It's not going to be like they'll take a chapter from 9th grade geography and then give a question out of that. But that knowledge can be applied. If you have that knowledge, like proper knowledge, I'm not talking about just ratifying all that information, but actually understanding what there is. So you start there, right? Then you can follow some of the guides available that these are the topics that come in UCEED. Like these are the topics that you have to study. Like you can start with, then you can move on to those. You can finish the logical reasoning, the mathematics, the non-verbal reasoning aspect, right? And then just for GK, just do whatever, however much you can. Like I used to read the newspaper. I would browse YouTube videos. YouTube is an amazing source of information actually. Like even for maths and science, you can just watch educational content on YouTube and have fun. Like that used to be my break time basically.
So, as we discussed till now about part A, so in UCEED there is another section which is part B. So in part B, like the questions is of sketching. So they will ask questions about sketching. So like, do you have habit of sketching before giving or before you came to know about UCEED exam?
Actually, no. I did not sketch. I did not draw till I started my prep for UCEED. I used to do a lot of digital work. But even that was not drawing per se. I was doing a lot of 3D modeling. So that does not, at the level that I was doing it, there wasn't much sketching involved, right? So for UCEED only, I started to draw. Yeah, it's pretty bad. My drawing is pretty bad.
So in this question only, you have said you have started sketching mainly for the UCEED exam. So like, when did you actually started practicing sketching?
Yeah, so as I said, I discovered the exam in around summer holidays. So that's when I started prep. And during my prep, I was mainly focused on part B only, as I said, because I was pretty confident in my part A before I even started for the preparations. So yeah, I spent 4-5 hours around during my preparation every day just sketching. When I was seriously preparing for UCEED, that's when it jumped to like 6-7 hours, sometimes 8 of just sketching. So on those days, there would not be any part A. That was just sketching days, right? So on the serious days, yeah. And like I was basically at zero. I could not even draw straight lines without a scale. And by the end, I'd say like I got semi-decent at it. Like, yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of practice.
Okay, like you have practiced like a good amount of time for your sketching.
Yeah, definitely. I have about 600-700 pages worth of drawings at home.
Oh, okay. So like you have your own collection of your sketching.
I do. I just don't have it here. I would have shown you otherwise.
Oh, nice. Okay. So Shreyansh, as you secured All India Rank 1 in UCEED exam, so like if you look into sketching, so there will be few concepts which are really important for the UCEED exam. Let us consider a person who just started like preparing for the UCEED exam. So like according to you, like what are the important concepts one should have to focus in sketching for UCEED exam?
So I'd say you should take an art approach towards this exam when you're studying for part B. Right? So you should start with the fundamentals. Do not start attempting questions on day 1, especially part B. Part A, you can still attempt. It's fine. But for part B, you start with the fundamentals. So you first learn how to draw. You start with objects, animals, some organic shapes, right? Humans. You should be able to draw anything that is observable without needing to look at a reference, basically speaking. So if you manage to do that, then you can say, okay, now you have a stable hand, and that's when you can start attempting questions. That's how I did. I had around an year and a half, right? So I had enough time to do it. If you're running out of time, then I'd still suggest like at least do some sort of initial preparation before starting questions. Like get a hang of sketching, draw some humans at least, like learn anatomy, basics of anatomy, learn basics of object sketching, some amount of perspective. And then you move on to your question number 1, which is generally always a composition, right? So it's a composition question. They're going to describe a scene And yeah, so you make so if nobody knows, if somebody does not know the question, one is they're going to describe a scene to you that you're sitting in a place, there's these particular objects in front of you, someone is posing in a particular way, and you're supposed to draw it from a particular eye level. Maybe you're on the ground, maybe you're on the same level as the person, maybe you're on the wall, right? And you should be able to imagine that. To imagine that, again, it's just practice. So I think since again I was drawing for a year straight, so it helped me. And once you're like clear about perspective and 3D forms, so don't think of drawings as 2D, even if they're on a flat plane, think of them as 3D. So even when you draw a cube, it has a 3D form, and you should be able to imagine if you tilt your head slightly upwards, how will the exact same cube look like? So there are multiple practices you can do. Do a lot of live sketching for it. Live sketching helps a lot in composition. And yeah, try to draw the exact same scene. So you can take one reference from Pinterest, for example. You take one reference, you draw the same scene, and then you draw the exact same scene from another angle. So maybe like you switch the wall, or maybe you look at it from the roof, something like that. Right. For question number 2, which is product sketching, I'd say it's a lot more about knowing how things work, as I said. So you should know how simple objects work. You should know the shape and form of like this year it was a chair. So you should know what fundamentally a chair is, and like how easy it is to sit on one, right? So yeah, that's basically the gist of it, I say.
So Shreyansh, in the previous questions, you have said that you have started practicing sketching after you came to know about UCEED exam. So let us assume like if you have a scale of 0 to 10. So while you came to know about UCEED exam, your sketching level is 0, and while you are about to give the exam, your sketching level is 10. So what daily habits helped you to improve your sketching from level 0 to level 10?
So it's drawing. I'm just talking about drawing. I'm not talking about your quality of answers. Just your line quality, that will only improve by the number of hours you put in. So the more hours you put in, the better your line quality will be. Of course, don't make it painful for yourself. Do as much as your body allows you to do. Yeah, so I was practicing sketching for, as I said, around 3-4 hours in the beginning, and then more as I got more serious about the exam. Talking about my ideas, it's more about like reading already pre-existing media. So like design is not just about like, you know, solving the question. Like the exam is not just about giving an answer to the solution. You should like know context of like why they're asking it. You know, so for example, I used to relate questions ki like, okay, so this year they said ki draw a chair design a portable chair. Okay. And the thing is like, okay, you have to design a portable chair, but you also need to think that the chair is going to be slung on someone's back, right? The chair is, if it opens, it has to open fast, or like if it's like built on spot, it has to be built fast, since it's basically like you're resting while the bus is waiting or something like that. That's what the chair is for. So you should open up fast, and then you should also go back in as quickly. Right? So it's like you should know the context of the question along with it. And that takes some time, that takes some effort. You need to think about everything. You know, you need to read a lot of media. I used to read a lot of stories. I used to read a lot of reports. I attended a lot of design exhibitions and art exhibitions. And it gives you a lot, like, it's basically about perspective. So like the more you're able to see, the better your solutions get, I say.
Shreyansh, if we look into any exam or any applying candidate, so what they do is before directly giving their exam, so what they will do is they will give mocks. So in order to like feel like a real exam, they will give the mocks. So after giving mocks, they analyze like what are their weaker areas and what are their stronger areas. So in your preparation also, like have you given any mocks?
Yeah, so I gave way too many mocks, I'd say. probably more than I should have, but you can never give enough marks, honestly. It was getting hectic at one point. I gave, I think, around 60 to 70 marks for just UCEED. Just UCEED. Yeah, so then NID and NEFT is different. I also gave those two exams, I gave marks for them too. Those are separate. Just UCEED around 60 marks. You can find them online and it's very easy to find them, but just make sure that they're good because they're not gonna be good. Marks for UCEED, they're not well made right now. They just like take questions from literally anywhere and don't really care if it's like something that's similar to the UCEED pattern. It's more about just quantity over quality at that point because you can't really do much. So I even used to make some questions of my own. Like I just used to discuss with my dad sometimes ki, like what if like ऐसा कुछ question बन सकता है. And then just randomly, if you're solving one question, then what if the same question was asked in a different way? Just think about it. There's no need to like just solve it in every way. Just think about ki, what would happen if the same question was asked in a different way. So like that's how I made my own mock.
Okay. Okay. So in this previous question only, you have said that you have given almost 60 to 70 marks. So 60 to 70 marks means let us take 1 mark each day. So it will take 2 months to 2.5 months for only marks. So like when did you actually started giving marks and where did you give in your mock tests?
Right. So I was giving around 1 or 2 mocks every month starting from July. So I'm talking about the final year preparation. 1 or 2 mocks every month. Okay. That's how July, August, September, October, November. Okay. October till October. Then November and December, that's when I did most of my mocks. I was doing at least 1 mock every day. Sometimes I was doing 2. 1 in the morning, 1 in the night.
So, as you said in the previous questions, after you have given mocks, you're gonna discuss with your dad, or are you gonna like visualize some question in a different perspective? So you have given like a 60 marks. So after giving your each mock, like, so how did you analyze your mock test performance?
Right. So it was more of like a gut feeling. I'd say ki, what do I like in this question or not? I'm talking about part B here. Okay. I'll add more, but mainly like first thing was your own gut feeling that do you really like what you made? And does it satisfy your own needs? If it does, then you can talk to your mentor, your teacher, your parents, right? Take their review. See, design is one thing where anyone can be a judge and it's gonna be pretty accurate because you're designing for the entire world. You're not designing for one particular person. So yeah, you can take feedback from anyone, like what do you like in this? What do you don't like this? What do you not like in this? Is it accurate enough? Then for part A, there were questions that you could not really get and there are no good solutions either. For that, it was just mainly just talking to my dad. Like I'm grateful to have my father who like actually helped me solve a lot of my doubts. We used to sit for hours on just one question. Like for sometimes because it was just didn't make any sense. Take a nice rest before the exam. I didn't study basically anything in the gap I got from NID to UCEED. So like there was a good 15-day gap between NID and UCEED for me. And I didn't really study much at that point. I was like, I am done with my prep. I did a few mocks here and there, but I was like, no, dude, I'm just directly gonna give the exam now. Keep sketching though, like keep your hand stable. Right? That's all I was doing. So have a nice rest before UCEED. If you're not comfortable with taking a nice long rest like me, then like maybe 1 or 2 days. Then on the exam, just remember that like you are giving the exam according to your own self. So it's best not to discuss it with your friends. Like I know it's fun to discuss with your friends, but you can't take stress on it. Like I saw a lot of people taking stress around me like, right after discussing. So at least don't discuss right as soon as you come out of the exam center. Just give it some time. Let yourself process it. right? So the first 2 hours is your part A, right? For part A, I discussed this. I had my strategy. It was NAT, then MSQ, then MCQ. Be prepared to see anything. All of us had a major shock in 2025 because they changed the pattern randomly out of nowhere. Till 2024, the paper used to take, every paper till 2024 used to take me about 80% of the time allotted. Right? So out of 2 hours, that would be around an hour and a half, an hour to 40 minutes to do the first go around. Solve every question once. 2025, I was done within an hour. Yeah, so that was pretty shocking. Is the paper easier or am I just doing it wrong? The paper was easier this year. It was much easier than any year before. Right, so be prepared for anything. It can be much harder next year. So don't think that UC is going to follow their steps anytime soon. They'll do anything, anywhere. So for the exam, I generally like to just do it in the order that the exam comes in. Plus, I was more comfortable with NATs anyways. So it was NAT, then MSQ, then MCQ. That's how I solved the papers. For previous years, my strategy was do NAT first, then skip any question that's hard. Right? And you come back to it in the second go around. This year, that didn't happen because the paper was much easier. But I think it's up to everyone for themselves. Most people do MCQs first because they're the easiest. I don't know. I'm just like that. So for part B, it's best to have your comfortable timing already known before the exam. So for me, it was 35-25 minutes for question 1 and question 2. 35 minutes for composition, 25 minutes for the product sketching. And you need to stick to it. Okay. Some people spend 40 minutes on composition and only 20 minutes on product sketching, and they still get like, yeah. So basically, like when you're doing your mocks, you should know what's the maximum amount of marks you can achieve in a particular amount of time. So if you spend 5 more minutes in composition and that's gaining you like 2 extra marks, but if you spend the same 5 minutes in product sketching and that gets you 10 extra marks in the same question, then it's better to put those 5 minutes in the product sketching part. So that's something you need to figure out for yourself.
So, Shreyansh, if we look into not only UCEED exam, if we look into CEED exam, JEE, or even GATE exam, so what basically people do is they will prepare for years. So let us say 1 year, or it could be 2 years, or it could be 3 years. So all these 3 years of preparation will be tested in these 3 hours. So, so everyone feel lot of nervous, lot of anxiety, and they feel lot of pressure before giving the exam and in the exam. So like while you are giving this UCEED exam, like how did you handle your pressure, your anxiety, and your nervous in the exam and before the exam?
Right, so the build up to the exam was the worst, I'd say. The thing is, they ask you to come at, I don't know, 8 a.m. and the exam, and you'll be inside the center sitting on your seat till 8:15, 8:20. That's a very fast process. But the exam does not start till 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Or like something like that. Like it's a huge time. It's like an hour of time you're just sitting inside at least an hour you're just sitting inside the exam hall. That part is the worst because you don't have your friends near you either. Everyone has a random seat located somewhere in the center.
Yeah, everyone will look into each other's faces.
You're just staring into everyone else around you, trying to. So I just made friends with the person next to me, and we just gossiped for 1 hour. Yeah, so that's what I did. Like I just talked to people around me. That helps the nerves. Don't talk about the exam. Obviously, don't talk about personal life. Talk about anything else.
So basically what people do is they will ask about have you prepared this one? Have you prepared this one? Have you covered all the topic? Basically everyone will talk about the exam only.
Yeah, you should not do that. That is just wrong. You're increasing everyone else's anxiety.
Yeah. So I think this is the reason like most people will get nervous because someone will say, I have prepared this one, I have did this much of sketching. And what we feel is, oh yeah, I forgot this one. I did this. I have didn't practice this sketching. So I think that's the reason like many people will get nervous as well as anxiety. So Shreyansh, finally you have given the exam and you come out of the exam hall and the results is about to come. So before the results, like have you ever expected you will secure All India rank 1?
So I was not expecting AIR 1. When I gave the exam, I actually thought I would barely clear because the exam was so easy this year. I actually thought that the cutoff was gonna go so high that because I am not confident in my part B. I am not confident with my sketching. So I was completely dependent on my part A score. And then when part A came easy this year, I actually thought, well, this sucks. So I wasn't expecting a top rank. But then when the mark sheets came, so not the results, but when the mark sheets came and I scored basically perfect in part A, I got 178 out of 200. So that's when I was like, okay, so it might be like in the top 50, if not like top 100, top 100, top 50, itna to aa jayega. That's what I thought.
Finally, the results were out and you have secured All India rank 1.
Yeah.
What was your reaction and your family reaction?
So it was literally 12:09. I remember the time at night. Results came at 12:02 and I was awake at that time.
Okay.
Because I knew the results were going to come.
Okay.
Yeah, I knew they were going to come at night only. I just had a feeling they were going to come at night. And I was awake and I checked it at 12:09. And my parents were asleep at this point. They thought it's going to come in the morning. It's not going to come at this point.
Okay.
And I just ran into their room, basically tripped on my mom. And woke them up and like, yeah, they were really, really happy. And my dad was like, yeah, I knew it.
Okay. So after you have secured your All India rank 1, so not only you and the people who have secured like a very good rank in the UCEED exam, like what is the further process like one should have to follow?
It's pretty streamlined for UCEED. If you get a very good rank, you don't really need to think much. It's just they're gonna send you a mail that you're eligible to sit in the UCEED counseling. Right? You sit in the counseling, you apply or you give your order that my first preference is this college. Then for me it was IIT Bombay, then Guwahati, then Delhi. Like I gave my preference, and then you just press submit, and a few days later they'll let you know if you get the seat or not. So like yeah, there are multiple rounds for counseling, and each counseling you have so whatever seat you get, you have an option to either freeze it or float it. Freeze means is that you're coming to that IIT whatever you get. And if you press float, that means if there's a seat available in an IIT that's on a higher preference that you gave, and if it's available, then you will get it. So yeah. And then once you're done with, once the counseling is done, that's when they'll send you an enrollment letter that, okay, you are a part of the B.Des course, and then IIT sends you mails to follow along.
If we look into B.Des courses as well as B.Tech courses, so B.Tech courses will be offered by almost all the IITs, NITs, IIITs. So many institutes will offer B.Tech courses, but very few institutes offer B.Des courses. So like what are the IITs offer B.Des courses?
It's not all IITs offer it. It's mainly IITs like Bombay, Delhi, Guwahati. Then you have Roorkee, I think Kanpur and Hyderabad. I think those are all, and also Indore. Yeah, these are the courses that give B.Des courses. It's increasing every year. Like IIT every other year or so joins in the list. There are not a lot of seats. Yeah, around 200, 300 seats. I think only 83 for general or 90. I think it increased to 90 this year. Around 90 seats for general this year.
Shreyansh, you have been preparing for the UCEED exam like for the past 1.5 years before UCEED exam. I hope like you have seen like multiple students who are preparing for the same exam, which is UCEED. So you have seen multiple people who are preparing for the same exam. So while you are doing your own observation, like what are the common mistakes people do while they are preparing for UCEED exam?
So multiple problems is they focus on their mistake. They'll focus a lot on their strengths and forget about their mistakes. So you do need to study. You need to focus on what you're doing wrong rather than what you're doing right. That is one very common thing. Second is don't just listen to one person. So like, for example, if you're in a design coaching, and of course you will want to listen to your teacher. I'm not saying you should not listen to your teacher. You're obviously going to listen to your teacher, but it's not like what they're saying is the final thing. Like, okay, that is the only thing. Okay, design is a very subjective field. Design is not something that's formula based. So one person's views about something may not be right, no matter how good they are. Then you also want to you do want to compare yourself with your peers, obviously. Like, that's just human tendency. I want to compare how much marks I got compared to my friends. But it's better to like compare yourself with your old marks rather than someone who's doing better than you. Like, if you see an improvement in yourself, I think it's much better than you seeing like you're not doing as good as someone else. I don't know.
Shreyansh, you have secured admission in one of the top design institutes in the country. So how is your life at IDC IIT Bombay in the past 4 months?
Right, so it's pretty different than what you'd expect from an engineering college. Our courses are much different than B.Tech's. We have classes running from 9:30 to 5:30, and we get a lot of breaks in between. It's not like it's just hectic. Right, we have a lot of classes, and the thing is, we don't have any science courses. We don't have any engineering courses in B.Des. It is just design. So while the others are just like studying about physics, chemistry, maths, we are like having fun, making posters, going around talking to people. I had a photography course. I was taking pictures. I was talking to a lot of people, like taking their pictures. Right. Then recently I went around in Mumbai for a course only. So we were supposed to talk to different shopkeepers. Like, we talked to a lot of shopkeepers about what they sell. Food shopkeepers.
You are doing like a complete justification for your course.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's pretty fun. I can't talk anything about what's going to happen in the future, but right now I'm living the time of my life.
So Shreyansh, this is the final question for this podcast. So like, what is the best piece of advice you will give to someone who are preparing for UCEED 2026?
Don't take the exam lightly. That is one thing a lot of design students do. They think UCEED is an easy exam, because there's this misconception going around that those who can't clear JEE, they sit for UCEED and then go to IIT. That is not true. That is a misconception that is going around. Do not think that this exam is easy, that it follows itself every year, that it repeats its patterns. It does not. Yeah. It changes every year. It can do anything that it wants.
It can test anything from anywhere.
Yeah, spend time on it. Give it all you have. And hopefully I'll see you as my junior next year.
Okay, super cool. So Shreyansh, like, how someone can connect with you?
You can have my Instagram or my LinkedIn. I am active mainly on Instagram, but I do look at my LinkedIn once a day or so. It's _Shreymon, and on LinkedIn is just Shreyansh Agarwal.
Okay. So guys, I will give Shreyansh social media handles links in the description. So if you want to connect with Shreyansh, you can click that links and you can connect with Shreyansh. So Shreyansh, once again, buddy, thank you so much. You have given so much information about your preparation and your exam strategy and your life at IDC IIT Bombay, and you have given plenty of information to our audience. And thank you so much once again.
Thank you for having me here.
So guys, this is Shreyansh Agarwal preparation who secured All India Rank 1 in UCEED. If you got new information through this podcast, make sure you hit the like button. And if someone in your family or in your friends who are preparing for UCEED exam, don't forget to share this podcast with them. And also I will upload this kind of videos in the future. And if you want to be notified, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications just by hitting that bell icon. So this is your Joshua Kamlekar signing off.